Most of people's frustrations in life will come from having built that expectation of the thing that they did to help someone.
You've heard of self-made millionaires, but what about selfless ones? What if giving without taking was the real secret to success? Meet Simon Squibb, entrepreneur, investor, author, a millionaire on a mission to help you win. In a world obsessed with taking, he chose to give. This is what giving with purpose really looks like.
My father died when I was 15 years old, and I always wish he'd written a book telling me everything he knew.
Why give without take?
When I started this journey maybe about 5 years ago of like, how can I fix the education system? How can I help people? I needed to ask people what they needed, right? So I think the best way to find out what people actually need is go up to them in the street and find out. And a lot of people were bullying me a bit, but I don't mind, like, yeah, I cried. I cry quite a lot, to be honest. I don't see what the problem is. Like, I feel emotion. I enjoy feeling emotion. Well, I have a skill that everybody could learn that will always keep me in a lifestyle I need. I think everyone should learn this. Everybody at school should be taught it. You're deliberately not taught it, in my opinion, and that is sales.
Simon, would you say that you are currently happy?
Am I currently happy?
Hi, Simon.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry I'm a few minutes late.
No problem at all. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, okay, we're just going to kick off the conversation, if that's all right with you.
Yep.
Your day going great?
Good, yeah. It's this is my 9th call today, so it's busy.
Yeah.
It's exciting busy. It's very exciting at the moment. So yeah, it's all good.
Fantastic. Simon, welcome to Stories Next Door podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So, I have your book in front of me. What's Your Dream? And I had the honor of reading your book. Exciting things that you wrote inside, all about dreamers. It was a joy. Congratulations for selling over 100,000 copies so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud that it's out there in the world. Seems like people like it. So yeah, it's exciting. I've literally framed the number one on the Sunday Times bestseller list and
Yes.
given it out to thank all the people that helped me make it happen, because no one does this sort of thing on their own. But yeah, it's very exciting. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Simon, if your son was to write a book about you in the next 20 years, what do you think the title of that book would be?
Daddy, get off the phone.
And why do you choose that title?
Well, I think we're on our phones too much. And my son, the other day, we were in a supermarket and his mummy sent me the list of food to get. So I was checking and he said, Daddy, why are you always on your phone?
Yes.
Why are you not focusing on me? And so, he had a point. I couldn't remember all the things that we had to get for the shopping list. But, sometimes I think kids don't do what you say, they do what you do.
That's true.
I think a lot of what I'm doing every day in my content is aimed to try and inspire my son to have a better life and help people. But equally, I need to get off my phone more. I need to be present, and I think a lot of us do.
Yes, and the book was dedicated to him. That's such a lovely touch.
Well, yeah, my father died when I was 15 years old, and I always wish he'd written a book telling me everything he knew, so that I could learn from him. Unfortunately, he didn't, and so for me, it's been quite important to create something that my son can read that will learn what I've learned over the last 35 years of doing business, in the hope that he can have a better life himself, but also, help humanity and give the world what it needs.
Yeah, and your mission right now, you like the catchphrase "give without take," which I think is so beautiful, and so many people need to adapt by that. Why give without take?
Well, right now, most of your listeners will be thinking that give and take is normal.
Yes.
I say, I'll help you if you help me. It feels that's the way it is. But that kind of way of thinking only really started about 100 years ago, when the education system was structured up and the tax system was tightened up. Because what happened was people were helping each other and they weren't always charging. It was almost like a barter system or a kindness system. So, the way we used to live a long time ago is we used to live in communities of around 5,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone in that community had a problem, let's say their tent blew over, then the other people in the community would be like, come and stay in my tent for a few days until we fix your tent. And let me help you. I can fix the tent. And we'd rally around each other and help each other. And so, if I'm the guy that knows how to fix a tent, I think I just do it because that's what I want my community to feel better. And then slowly over history, taxman crept into the equation and he said, right, I want a transaction every time so I can tax it. So now the person helping the person with the tent has to charge the person who's helping with the tent. Now the person who got the tent fixed now needs to charge for whatever is it they're doing. And it's created this problem, actually. So I think if we live give without take and not give and take, we can start helping each other more without it always being about how much money we make or the transactional requirement of a back and forth interaction. And I just think we're most of people's pain listening will come from living under give and take. So, for example, I saw someone this morning open the door for someone, very polite, open the door for them. And that person walked through the door and they didn't say anything. And the person who was holding the door open went, well, don't say thank you then. So they got annoyed because the person who they opened the door for didn't say thank you or didn't react in the way that they wanted them to react. They made themselves annoyed over after they did something nice. And I think if people realize that you lend someone money and they don't pay you back, you get annoyed, right? You do something nice for someone, then you have expectation. Most of people's frustrations in life will come from having built that expectation of the thing that they did to help someone. And if you just remove it, you go back to your natural state, which is help someone because you can, because the world's a better place if you do, and then you will actually be happier. It creates oxytocin in us, which is the antidote to dopamine, and it creates a natural happiness in us if we help someone. So I want people to live give without take because they will be happier if they do.
Yes. So, Simon, would you say that you are currently happy?
Am I currently happy? So I think happiness is the wrong thing to pursue. So I think if you ask me, do I feel a sense of purpose? Do I enjoy my life? My instant answer is yes. If you ask me, am I happy? So today I'm wearing a watch that tells me I only got 39% recovery last night. I didn't sleep brilliantly for various reasons. The moon positioning, ate too late. And so I'm not 100% happy because I didn't get 100% sleep. But I think that it's the wrong question. I don't think if people are asking themselves, are they happy? They're gonna have very huge highs and lows. And I think you're not meant to be happy all the time. Most of my joy has come from my pain. So joy comes from pain, and pain by definition isn't happy, is it? So I think you shouldn't seek to be happy. I don't seek to be happy. I seek to have purpose, and I seek to follow my dreams. And I think I'm happier long term as I'm not happy all the time, but as a life, I'm happy with my life. And I think that's more important than I'm happy right now.
Yes. And because of your purpose, you have been able to help millions of people just by reading your book, but also just following your journey. You go around the streets asking people what their dreams are, you help them. So you are living your purpose, but in tail, you're also helping those people and they're also, being happy within their life. So we have seen you in the streets of America, in the streets of Europe, everywhere. When will we see you in Africa? I'm from Africa. I'm from Tanzania. So when there's dreamers out there and they're asking questions, when will you go out there and ask them what their dreams are and also help them out?
Yeah, I think that my scheduling has been going where my social media audience is. So I do actually have quite a big audience in Africa and across the region. I think about 9% of my audience is in Africa. So I like to think in a way I'm there because my content is educating people. YouTube is global, Instagram is global. My content is helping people, but physically going somewhere, I don't have much time. So I try to optimize my time for the most amount of impact. And so if I'm invited to go, if there's a plan while I'm there, I will definitely go. So I just got invited to Kuwait, for example. It wasn't on my radar, but they organized for me to do an event at the university there. We did a press junket explaining give without take, and we did a whole thing with the students there. So it gave me an excuse to go there. And so, give me an excuse to go there, Nancy. Give me an excuse.
Yeah, we'll definitely work something out, Simon, honestly. Yeah, so that you can go out there and inspire other people. So, someone might ask, what is a successful millionaire, an entrepreneur who has built multiple companies and succeeded at some of them, walking around the streets asking people what their dreams are? Like, why are you even doing that? Sometimes in the rain, sometimes in the cold. Why? I know you talked about purpose, but what is the main reason behind that?
Well, first of all, I enjoy it. And, at this stage in my life, I can do the things I enjoy. So I think work has become a negative word and it shouldn't be. I like to work. And when I started this journey, maybe about 5 years ago, of like, how can I fix the education system? How can I help people? I needed to ask people what they needed, right? So I think the best way to find out what people actually need is go up to them in the street and find out. So, I have an idea in my head what I think people need. And so, initially a lot of what my, in the street content was me just finding out about what people need so I could be useful and I can be seen. And that for me is like step one, is quite a selfish endeavor. Like, what can I be useful and can I be seen? And then once I understand what people's issues are, I can figure out how to use what I know to ensure that I'm useful. So, and then, I mean, again, I don't, sometimes my mission can sound very philanthropic. I actually, I there's something really addictive about hearing someone's dream. Like it's fascinating. And then I hear people's excuses for not doing it, and I love removing them for people, like getting rid of those limiting belief systems that people have. And so I just get an incredible high from it. And so I just feel like it's not a job. It's just something I enjoy doing. Now I know because I've got money, it means I shouldn't go out in the rain, but I love it, and I love being out there, hearing people's dreams and trying to help them make it happen, and recording those dreams and putting it up so that people can get investors and they can get their business product going and get customers, and it's just so selfishly rewarding. And it just so happens it's also doing good in the world. And I
Yes.
think, yeah, the money that I have just allowed me 5 years ago to just think about what it is I like to do. And I like people, I like talking to people, I like hearing people's ideas, I like helping people with their ideas. I just don't need to charge anyone for help now, which is brilliant. So there's no catch, right? There's no, oh, now buy my course.
Yeah.
I don't have a course.
Yeah. So that's why you started Help Bank. And as you write in your book, that the mission is to help 10 million people. How close are you to that goal currently?
Depends on how you measure it. So we've got over 400 million views in the last 4 weeks on our content. So if 10% of that viewership go and start something, a side hustle or business of their own, then we did 4 million people last month. So, I mean, 10 million, I picked that number 5 years ago, really as a general kind of moonshot idea. Can we help 10 million people start a business? I think the numbers I can count are the videos that I put up of people who have a dream that are making it happen. And that is about 700. Okay. So under that measure, I've got a long way to go, which is great. I love having a very ambitious target. But if you looked at the actual number of views and the amount of people interacting with the educational content that we're producing around starting a business, if a small proportion of that viewership go for it after being inspired by the videos, then I would say we're well on our way to meeting our ambitious target of helping 10 million people start a business.
Then there's also a ripple effect when it comes to that, because we might look at it and say it is 4 million people or 700 people, but those particular people are also surrounded by people. So it's not just helping their dream, they could also help, through that dream, someone else is also impacted in that. So you're doing an amazing thing for the community, Simon. What is the wildest dream that you've ever heard someone tell you?
Well, I mean, people tell me, incredible dreams, and I think just a few months ago, someone told me their dream of being a Formula One driver, and her name's Mahi, and she's 10 years old, and she
Yes,
dreams
I know Mahi. She's doing great. Yes.
doing great.
Yeah.
I think I just love to see one, someone knows what they want and they're going for it. Second is the mum and dad, just so much love and support for their dream. The family aren't saying you probably won't make it. You probably this is an expensive dream. It's not possible. Go focus on school. This is a silly dream. They're backing her, and the family are learning about business. They're learning how to get sponsorship. They're learning how to make social media work so they can generate revenue. Like they're not stopping until their daughter's dream happens. And I get really inspired by the whole family coming together and helping each other. And then I get inspired by a young person who they know their destiny and they're fighting for it. And in a world that doesn't want them to do that, right? So she wouldn't be your typical Formula One driver, right? So she's fighting for her right to live her dream. And so you could call it wild, wanting to be a Formula One driver, but Lewis Hamilton reacted to her video and said he absolutely loves it.
Wonderful.
Amazing what she's doing. The Formula One folks replied, invited her to come along to a race, and she's just got sponsorship to do the karting. So she's making it happen. And I think maybe next week she'll decide it's not her dream anymore. That's absolutely fine. And I think we should take the pressure off her to have to perform. But I think that the fact that she knows her dream and she's making it happen, and that her parents are supporting her, the community is supporting her, Lewis Hamilton supporting her, it is exciting. And that those sorts of dreams really, really, really excite me.
Yes. Talking about women. So it's Women History Month. It's March. We're all about celebrating women in March. Who is that one woman who inspires you?
One woman that inspires me, well, that one's easy. So
Mhm.
I've been with my wife 23 years. So I met my wife. We started a business together called Fluid, which turned into a very successful company. We did it 50-50 together when we were in our 20s. And we've been together a long time. And I think Helen is probably the most inspiring person ever, but particularly for me. She's very open and honest and kind, and she's made me a better person. There's been plenty of times in my career when I was younger, for example, we had in 2007, there was a financial crisis and we were in Hong Kong at the time. And one of our big clients almost went bankrupt, a very famous company that I won't mention it now, but they almost went bankrupt. Unbelievable to think they were about to go bankrupt, but basically they couldn't pay us. So I remember turning to Helen and saying, "Oh, Helen, we're in trouble. Our big client won't pay us." And I said, "Helen, we have to pay ourselves first before we pay our team." And she said to me something I'll never forget. She's like, "Simon, I can't live with myself, if we don't pay the people that trust us. They've got mortgages and bills to pay, and we have to pay them first." So we took all of our savings, everything we'd spent at that point, 6-7 years saving up, and we used it to pay everybody else. And we were left with no savings and no ability to pay our own bills. And I would have gone the other way if it wasn't for Helen. I wanted us to survive, and survival mode kicked in. But Helen had the vision and the kindness to go the other way, the right way, and to empty our bank account to pay everybody, leaving us in trouble, but not them. And it paid off because the financial markets picked back up again in Hong Kong quite quickly. The client in question didn't go bankrupt and they did pay us. And we never let our people down. I mean, in the 35 years I've been in business, I have never missed first of the month payment that I have promised people. And I'm proud of that. I've never missed anyone's salary payment or any money I promised people. I've paid it every week, every month, my whole life since I've been working. So, and Helen helped me keep that promise. And I'm proud of it. And I'm also grateful because everyone after that they knew people know when you're in financial trouble. Everyone in the company knew at that time we had a problem, and they saw that we put them first. We weren't just saying it. A lot of companies say, we put our people first. And what do? They cut them as soon
Yeah.
as they don't suit them anymore. So I think we proved that that is how we feel and how we act, not just speak. And I thank Helen for helping me pick the right path in moments like that.
Yes. She sounds like a really incredible woman. The streets of London are very hard to date these days, Simon. I know you've been out of the game for quite a long time, but what advice would you give to single people who are trying to find the right partner?
You're right. I've been out of the game a long time, but I think the rules are always the same. And I believe that you should just live your life, and the right partner will turn up. And I think if you just be you, I mean, I remember when I met Helen, I wasn't looking for a relationship. I think that's the best place to be. Like
Yes, definitely.
I don't need Helen to make me happy. I don't need Helen to complete me. I don't. I see the relationship with Helen as she enhances me. We're able to help each other have a better life. I don't need her to complete me. And so I think for me, like I wanted to build a business. Helen wanted to build a business. So we started a business together. And that led to love. And that led to our life now. And I think sometimes people are looking for love instead of like actioning life. That could be a good like X post, couldn't it? Stop,
Yes.
stop, stop trying to look for love and start executing on life. And you know, if it's meant to be, it will happen. And just kind of enjoy the journey and be open to love. But I think that's the healthiest way. I don't like these apps. I see lots of young people on them. I think it creates a transactional nature, and I think it also takes away from I saw two people yesterday walk by each other, and they were both looking down at their phones. And I thought,
Yes, I know that's the thing.
like they were about to meet each other, but unfortunately they were both on Tinder looking at their phone.
Yes.
Like just look up,
Yes,
uh,
look up a bit.
look up a bit, sit in a coffee shop, put your phone away. How long can you last? And just look around the coffee shop and see if there's anyone you'd like to ask if they'd like a coffee. Like just live in your world.
Yes, that's really good advice. So you've built companies, some have succeeded, some have failed. You do narrate that in your book. If everything was to come crashing down right now, how would you rebuild?
Well, I have a skill that everybody could learn that will always keep me in a lifestyle I need. I think everyone should learn this. Everybody at school should be taught it. You're deliberately not taught it, in my opinion, and that is sales. So I can sell anything, and I think the important skill, if you learn to, I mean, if you like it or not, if your listeners now are thinking, well, I'm not a salesperson, you are wrong. You are wrong. You just haven't been taught sales. You can be an introvert and do sales. There's just different tools if you're an introvert to if you're an extrovert. If you're an extrovert, there's other types of tools you use, and there's other types of tools you wouldn't be able to use because you're not an introvert. So it doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert, you can learn sales. And I think sales, I could lose everything, wouldn't matter. I will make money today if I needed to.
Yes,
It's
because of
sales.
that one skill.
That's it. Sales. Everyone should learn it. It's one of my most popular videos on YouTube, and one of the things I really dig into in the book.
Yes.
Learn sales. It's teachable. Learn it. Then you're free. No one can ever. You can go broke. It won't matter. You'll make money.
Yeah. Why do you think the education system does not teach us sales?
Doesn't want you working for yourself.
Yes.
The school system was designed by Henry Ford and Carnegie, and they said it to get people to go back to the factory and work 9 to 5. They need people in those businesses. And so, they want you to buy a car and go on 2 holidays a year, but come back to work on Monday.
Oh gosh, that life.
Right. So it's
Yes.
just, it's not, they said it,
Mhm.
me making up some conspiracy theory. The people that develop the education system, they want you to memorize so that you can memorize a factory line, boom, boom, boom. They don't want you to critically think. They don't want you to know things like sales because these things will set you free. And once you're free, you're not going to work for the system anymore.
Simon, you received a 1 million cash prize at the 1 billion follower summit. After receiving that, you posted online, obviously amazing what they did there, but you cried on stage and you received negative comments. People are bullying you. How do you stay resilient when it comes to those comments?
If people, and a lot of people were bullying me a bit, but I don't mind, like, yeah, I cried. I cry quite a lot, to be honest. I don't see what the problem is. Like, I feel emotion. I enjoy feeling emotion. Some movies, I just watched Shawshank Redemption. If anyone's seen it, I cried, like, I just think, I don't know what the problem is. So it surprises me that people think that's something to tease me about. I think it's a strength. Yeah, I feel things
It
and
is
I
strength.
express them, and therefore, I won't die as young. Like, I just express my emotions. I'm not suppressing it. But when my son was about 4 years old, we took him to a nursery, and he was crying at the gate, saying he didn't want me to leave him. And the teacher told him, Aiden, just stop crying, and this is life. Come inside. I instantly took him away from that school and never took him back. And I've been home educating him ever
That is
since,
very harsh.
because that approach is like literally telling someone to stop expressing their emotions. He wants to cry. That's how he releases his pain, right? And it's perfectly natural. But when you start telling someone, stop crying, suck it up, this is embarrassing, was the other line I hated. Stop crying, you're embarrassing yourself. No, he's not. He's expressing pain. He's leaving his father. Don't tell him to shut up and suck it up. No, I almost swore then. I don't want to swear on your podcast, but like, I just, it just really upsets me that somehow is the way people think you should live.
Especially for men, I think. Men are not supposed to express their feelings, and apparently, while it's a natural thing to do, and that's why there's a major suicide rates when it comes to men.
Yeah, and I think it's a mistake, and I'm not going to encourage it. I think as far as like hate is concerned, I always think like there's different types of hate, right? There's and I get quite a lot of hate on my social media, but I always look at it like, if it's someone who's got a fake profile, the hate isn't me, it's them. They hate themselves. There's a problem. I have empathy for them at that point. I'm like, are you okay? And then there's people that hate you and they aren't hiding who they are. Most of the time, those types of people, I call them undecided voters, right? So they might have all my life right now for the first time. They hear me talking about like I give money away and I help people, and they're like, this is fake, that's rubbish. He's doing it for himself. And then, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, I've been doing this 5 years. There's people that were on my early social media 5 years ago that are still with me today. But when they first saw me, they were negative towards me. They're called undecided voters, right? They're just people that haven't fully understood what you're doing yet, and they just need time to understand your true intentions. And then they will either end up being your biggest fans, which in some cases has happened, or
Yeah.
they'll move on to someone else and troll them until they figured them out. So it's I find a lot of people that didn't like me in the early days have seen me every single day for the last 5 years, help two people and ask for nothing in return. And after a while, they end up liking me, even respecting me. So I don't write people off even if they hate me. I just think, well, give me a bit of time to prove to you you're wrong. That's it.
So when all is said and done, what legacy would you like to leave?
I'd love it if people live by the give without take lifestyle.
Yes.
I'd love it if that was, how the school system also was updated to include things like sales, financial literacy. I don't know if I'm going to achieve that second one, because I think the school system is very embedded and it's actually working for those that built it. But I'd love to update the education system and give people more choice than just get a job, give them informed consent. Whether or not they get a job is up to them, but at least they have options. But definitely, if I can, encourage people to live, give without take, and get rid of give and take. Not everything should be a transaction. Not everything is a transaction. Just try to think a bit, bigger. That those two legacy items would be my dream.
Yeah. So just to wrap it up with classic British style, tea or coffee?
I love both. I
Oh,
love
wow.
as well.
You have to pick one.
I have to pick one. Tea if it's with a biscuit. Coffee if it's on its own.
Fantastic. Simon, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with our listeners. They're called neighbors. So thank you so much. We really appreciate having you and accepting our invite to join us today.
Of course, Nancy. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So Nancy is my assistant. She set this call. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's JEICY.
JC.
Yeah.
JC. Oh, right. Okay, that confused me.
Yeah.